The discovery. The Scarlet Nebula pulsed with vibrant crimson energies as the research vessel Astral Seeker approached its outer boundary. Captain Vexlar stood on the bridge, his four eyes narrowed as he studied the swirling cosmic clouds. His scaled skin reflected the red glow from the viewports, giving his normally blue complexion a purple tinge. "Are you certain about this, Professor?" Vexlar asked, turning to face the slender figure hunched over a holographic display. Professor Neritas didn't look up from her work. Her six-fingered hands moved rapidly across the projection, adjusting parameters and enhancing sensor readings. The luminous patterns of her facial markings pulsed with excitement, a clear sign that the Zithian scientists have found something significant. "The readings are unmistakable, Captain," she replied. "There's a massive artificial structure deep within the nebula. The energy signature doesn't match any known civilization's technology." The Scarlet Nebula has claimed 17 expeditions in the last century, Vexlar reminded her. The Galactic Council specifically restricted exploration without proper authorization. Neri finally looked up, her silver eyes gleaming. "Which is why I obtained special clearance for this mission. This discovery could rewrite our understanding of pre-Council civilizations." The third member of their team, Security Officer Kraz, moved from his station to join the conversation. His bulky frame dwarfed both the captain and the professor. As a Vorathi, his species was bred for combat, with natural armor plating and enhanced muscle density. "The dive suits are prepared," Kraz reported, his deep voice rumbling. "But I must again express my concerns about this expedition. My sensors detect unusual temporal distortions within the nebula." Neri dismissed his worries with a wave of her hand. "All the more reason to investigate. The Scarlet Nebula has always exhibited strange properties. It's why so many expeditions failed. They weren't properly equipped." "And we are?" Vexlar asked skeptically. "The Council provided us with their latest phase shift technology," Neri said, gesturing to the specialized dive suits waiting in the preparation chamber. "These suits will protect us from the nebula's corrosive elements and temporal fluctuations." Vexlar sighed, knowing that arguing with the professor was futile once she had set her mind on something. "Very well. Prepare for nebula immersion. Kraz, you'll accompany the professor. I'll monitor from the ship and maintain our position." 3 hours later, Neri and Kraz floated through the crimson clouds of the nebula. Their dive suits emitted a soft blue glow, creating small bubbles of normal space around them as they pushed through the thick, almost liquid-like substance of the nebula. "Incredible," Neri whispered, watching as time seemed to flow differently just beyond the protective field of her suit. Small particles appeared to freeze in place, while others accelerated rapidly, creating streaks of light. "The nebula exists in a state of temporal flux." "Focus on the mission, Professor," Kraz reminded her. "We have limited time before our suit's energy reserves deplete." Neri nodded and consulted the scanner built into her suit's forearm. The structure should be directly ahead, approximately 200 meters. They pushed forward, using the suit's propulsion systems to navigate the thick substance of the nebula. Gradually, a massive shadow began to take form through the swirling red clouds. "By the Council," Kraz breathed as the structure came into view. Before them loomed an enormous vessel, easily 5 kilometers in length. Its dark hull seemed to absorb the nebula's light rather than reflect it. The design was unlike anything in Galactic Council records, sleek yet angular, with what appeared to be weapon emplacements along its length. "This is unprecedented," Neri said, her voice trembling with excitement. "The size alone suggests technology far beyond what we believed possible for pre-Council civilizations." As they approached the vessel, Neri's scanner began to beep rapidly. "I'm detecting energy signatures. Minimal, but present. This ship isn't completely dormant. We should return to the Astral Seeker and report this discovery," Kraz suggested, his hand instinctively moving to the weapon at his side. "Nonsense. We're making history, Kraz. This could be the find of the millennium." Neri propelled herself toward the massive hull. "Let's see if we can locate an entry point." They followed the ship's hull, marveling at its immense scale. After nearly 30 minutes of exploration, they discovered what appeared to be an airlock or docking port. "Look at these markings," Neri said, examining symbols etched into the metal around the entry point. She traced them with her finger, and to her shock, they began to glow with a soft blue light. "Professor, don't," Kraz started, but it was too late. The symbols pulsed brighter, and lines of blue energy spread across the hull in all directions. The massive ship seemed to shudder, and sections that had been partially phased out of normal space began to solidify. "What did you do?" Kraz demanded, pulling Neri away from the hull. "I didn't do anything," she protested. "I just touched the symbols." Before they could retreat, the airlock door slid open with a hiss of escaping air. The interior was dark, but internal lights began to activate, revealing a corridor that stretched deep into the vessel. "We need to leave," Kraz insisted. Neri's scientific curiosity overwhelmed her caution. "Don't you understand what this is? A functional ship from before the Council era. We have to investigate." Their argument was interrupted by Captain Vexlar's voice over their communication system. "Professor, security officer, return to the ship immediately. Our sensors indicate massive energy surges from the structure. Something is powering up." "Just a quick look inside," Neri pleaded. "Our suits will protect us." Kraz growled in frustration, but knew the professor wouldn't leave willingly. 5 minutes, no more. They cautiously entered the airlock. As soon as they were inside, the outer door sealed behind them with a decisive thud. Kraz spun around, reaching for the control panel, but it was unresponsive. "Professor," he said warningly. A mechanical voice suddenly echoed through the chamber, speaking in an unknown language. After a moment, it switched to the standard galactic tongue. Though the accent was strange, and the pronunciation archaic, unknown entities detected. "Initiating containment protocols. Atmosphere analysis in progress." "It's an artificial intelligence," Neri exclaimed. "A functioning AI from a pre-council civilization." The inner airlock door slid open, revealing a corridor now fully illuminated with blue-white light. The mechanical voice spoke again. "Atmospheric compatibility confirmed. You may remove your environmental protection if necessary. Proceed to Central Command for identification and processing." "We're not removing our suits," Kraz stated firmly. "And we're not proceeding anywhere until you identify yourself and this vessel." There was a pause before the AI responded. "This is the United Earth Ship Defiance, tactical designation UES-117. I am ARI, Advanced Reconnaissance and Integration I. This vessel has been in emergency stasis for approximately 1,242 standard years." Neri gasped. "Earth, this is a human vessel." "Affirmative. Current status: emergency revival protocols initiated. Stasis chambers activating. Estimated time to crew awakening: 17 minutes. Kraz and Neri exchanged alarmed glances through their helmet visors. "Humans are extinct," Kraz stated flatly. "They disappeared over 1,000 years ago during the cataclysm." "Incorrect," Araya replied. "Human population reduced to approximately 0.02% of pre-war levels. Survival colonies established in 7 secure locations. UES Defiance mission: preserve essential personnel and genetic material until threat neutralization confirmed." "This changes everything," Neri whispered. "The historical records, the Council's foundation narrative. It's all wrong." Captain Vexlar's voice crackled through their communication systems, now distorted by interference from the ship. "Professor, Officer Kraz, what's happening?" "Our sensors show the structure is fully materializing and generating a power signature massive enough to register from our position." "Captain," Neri replied, barely containing her excitement, "we've discovered a human warship with surviving crew in stasis. They're awakening as we speak." "Humans. Vexlar's voice betrayed his shock. That's impossible. Return to the Astral Seeker immediately. We can't, Kraz reported grimly. We're locked inside the vessel. Araya's voice interrupted their conversation. Detecting communications with external vessel. Warning. 3 additional ships approaching current coordinates. Signatures match hegemony patrol vessels. Hegemony? Neri questioned. Do you mean the Galactic Council? Terminology may have evolved. Araya acknowledged. Hostile force responsible for Earth's destruction was self-identified as the hegemony of enlightened species. Archival footage available for reference. A holographic projection appeared in the corridor before them, showing massive warships bombarding a blue-green planet. The attacking vessels bore markings disturbingly similar to modern Council military ships. That's not possible, Kraz said, his voice hollow. The Council was formed after the cataclysm to ensure peace. History is written by the victors, Neri murmured. And if the Council, or this hegemony, believed humanity was extinct. Araya interrupted again. Stasis revival complete. Command personnel awakening. Security protocols active. Please remain in your current location. From deeper within the ship, they heard movement, footsteps approaching their position. Kraz positioned himself protectively in front of Neri, his hand on his weapon. A figure appeared at the end of the corridor, tall and bipedal, wearing a dark uniform with insignia they didn't recognize. The human moved with caution, a weapon held ready in their hands. Behind this first figure, 2 more appeared, similarly armed. The leader spoke, the words translated by Araya. I am Commander Elena Vega of the United Earth Ship Defiance. You are aboard a restricted military vessel without authorization. Identify yourselves immediately. First contact. Commander Elena Vega had never expected to wake up. The emergency stasis protocol had been a desperate last measure, a final gambit when the hegemony forces had cornered the Defiance during the fall of the Arcturus colony. She remembered giving the order to activate the experimental phase shift drive, remembered the horrible sensation of the ship partially phasing out of normal space, and then darkness. Now she stood facing 2 aliens in strange environmental suits, aboard her ship that Araya reported had been in stasis for over 1,000 years. Her tactical officer, Lieutenant Kinkid, and security chief, Major Zhang, flanked her with weapons drawn. I'll ask once more, Elena said firmly, keeping her voice steady despite the surreal situation. Identify yourselves. The smaller alien stepped forward, raising its 6-fingered hands in what it clearly hoped was a non-threatening gesture. When it spoke, Araya translated. I am Professor Neri Tass of the Zithian Science Academy. This is Security Officer Kraz of the Vorathi Protectorate. We are researchers authorized by the Galactic Council to explore the Scarlet Nebula. We discovered your vessel and inadvertently activated its systems. Elena exchanged glances with her officers. Galactic Council. Araya. Analyze. Available data suggests the entity formerly known as the Hegemony of Enlightened Species has reorganized under a new designation. The AI replied. Many of the same species appear to be involved in leadership roles. We don't understand, the alien named Neri said. Our historical records state that humans became extinct during an event called the Cataclysm over 1,000 years ago. There is no mention of this hegemony. Elena's expression hardened. History gets rewritten when there's no one left to contest it. Araya, bring up the Arcturus defense footage. A holographic display materialized in the corridor. It showed a human colony under attack, massive warships bombarding its defenses while smaller vessels landed troops. The attacking ships bore markings identical to insignias still used by the Galactic Council. The hegemony decided humanity was too dangerous to exist, Elena explained, her voice cold. We developed technology too quickly, expanded too rapidly. They claimed we would destabilize the galaxy's power balance, so they attempted genocide. The larger alien, Kraz, studied the footage with growing unease. These ships, The design principles are still used in Council vessels. Your Council and our hegemony are one and the same, Major Zhang stated flatly, just operating under a different name after they thought they'd eliminated all witnesses to their crimes. Neri's translator conveyed her distress clearly. This contradicts everything we've been taught. The Council presents itself as a peacekeeping organization formed after the cataclysm to prevent further conflicts. Convenient narrative, Lieutenant Kincaid remarked bitterly. Valina was about to respond when ARIA interrupted. Commander, I must report that 4 vessels matching hegemony, now Council, configurations have surrounded the Astral Seeker. A 5th larger vessel has entered the nebula using technology similar to our phase shift capability. They're after your ship, Kraz realized. The Council strictly controls access to the Scarlet Nebula. They claim it's for safety, but perhaps they knew what was hidden here. Elena made a quick decision. ARIA, continue revival protocols for all essential personnel. Bring weapons systems online and prepare the phase shift drive for emergency jump. The phase shift drive sustained damage during our emergency stasis, ARIA reminded her. Repairs would require approximately 7 hours. Then we'll have to fight, Elena said grimly. She turned to the aliens. You have a choice to make. Your Council is our enemy, responsible for the near extinction of my species. Where do you stand? Neri and Kraz exchanged looks through their helmet visors. Finally, Neri spoke. I am a scientist, Commander. My life is dedicated to truth. If what you've shown us is accurate, then the Council has built its authority on lies. I cannot support that. Kraz seemed more conflicted. My duty is to protect Professor Tass and report to my superiors. Your superiors serve those who attempted to wipe out an entire species, Major Zhang pointed out. After a tense moment, Kraz nodded. My people value honor above all. There is no honor in genocide, nor in serving those who would conceal such actions. Elena assessed them carefully before coming to a decision. ARIA, grant our guests restricted access. They remain under escort at all times. She addressed the aliens directly. We need information about the current galactic situation, and you need protection from your Council when they discover you've made contact with us. Cooperation serves us both. As they made their way to the bridge, more of the Defiance's crew emerged from stasis chambers. Engineers, medical personnel, and combat specialists, all looking disoriented, but quickly adjusting to their situation as military training took over. The bridge of the Warship was a hub of activity by the time they arrived. Holographic displays showed the approaching Council vessels and the surrounded Astral Seeker. Can we contact my ship? Neri asked. Elena nodded to her communications officer, who opened a channel. Captain Vexlar's anxious voice came through immediately. Professor, what is happening? Council warships have surrounded us and are demanding we surrender. They claim we violated restricted space and accessed forbidden technology. Captain, Neri replied carefully, the situation is complex. The structure we discovered is a human warship with surviving crew. The historical record regarding humanity's fate is incomplete. There was a long pause before Vexlar responded. The Council ships are preparing to board us. They've specifically demanded any data we've collected about the structure. Helena stepped forward. Captain Vexlar, this is Commander Vega of the UES Defiance. If you transmit your coordinates, we can extend our shield to protect your vessel. Another pause. You would assist us despite our affiliation. Your crew had no knowledge of the truth, Elena replied. And you may soon be considered enemies of the Council alongside us. After a brief consultation with his crew, Vexlar transmitted the coordinates. Elena ordered immediate action. Extend shields to the research vessel. Prepare main weapons but hold fire unless attacked first. The massive human warship fully materialized from the nebulous crimson clouds, its imposing silhouette causing visible panic among the Council fleet. The Defiance's shield stretched to encompass the much smaller Astral Seeker, just as the Council vessels opened fire. Energy weapons splashed harmlessly against the advanced shielding technology. The Council ships, despite their numerical advantage, were clearly outmatched by the ancient human warship's capabilities. "We don't seek to restart a war," Elena announced on an open channel to the Council fleet, "but we will defend ourselves and those under our protection. Withdraw your vessels immediately." The Council commander's response was immediate and hostile. "Unknown vessel, you are in violation of Galactic Council law. Surrender for boarding and inspection, or face destruction." Elena looked at her tactical display, then at the aliens who had inadvertently awakened her ship and crew. It seems some things haven't changed in 1,000 years. She turned to her weapons officer. "Target the propulsion systems only. We need to make a statement, not start another war." The Defiance's weapons systems came alive, precise beams of energy disabling 2 Council vessels with surgical precision. The remaining ships began to retreat. "Commander," Araya announced, "I have completed analysis of current galactic communication networks. I've identified transmissions using old Earth colony encryption protocols." Elena's eyes widened. "Are you saying some of our colonies survived?" "Affirmative. Detecting communications consistent with human settlement patterns in 7 systems, all outside Council territory." For the first time since awakening, Elena allowed herself to smile. It seems humanity is more resilient than the hegemony anticipated. Neri approached the commander. "What will you do now?" Elena studied the galactic map ARIA had compiled. "First, we ensure your safety. Then we find these surviving colonies and learn what's happened in our absence." She paused, considering the implications. The galaxy believes humanity is extinct. Perhaps that misconception has protected our remaining colonies all these years. "The Council will know the truth now," Kraz pointed out. "They will mobilize their full fleet once they realize what's happened." "Then we'll need allies," Elena replied. She extended her hand to Neri and Kraz, a human gesture of partnership. They seemed to understand. "Your people deserve to know the truth about their history. Are you willing to help us reveal it?" Neri took the commander's hand without hesitation. "Truth is the foundation of science. I cannot turn away from it, no matter how uncomfortable." Kraz followed suit, his large hand engulfing Elena's. "My people value strength and honor. Today, you have demonstrated both. The Vorathi will listen to what I have witnessed here." As the Defiance prepared to depart with the Astral Seeker and Tau, Elena looked out at the stars. So familiar yet now part of a changed galaxy. ARIA, set course for the nearest human colony signal. It's time for the ghosts of Earth to return. The ancient warship slipped into faster-than-light travel, leaving the defeated Council vessels behind. In its wake, transmissions spread rapidly across secure channels. Humanity, long thought extinct, had returned, and the foundations of the Galactic Council's authority began to tremble.